What if I told you that the world you're seeing is only the echo, while the real voice is speaking underneath your breath? Stay with me for just 30 seconds. Slow your inhale. Feel it expand. Now listen between heartbeats. Notice how the room sharpens when you stop chasing the noise. That clarity you feel, it isn't coincidence. It's a door, and the second you step through it, the old script can't follow you. Most people will never hear this whisper. They drown it out with constant doing, scrolling, rushing, performing, never realizing that life has always been waiting in the silence. But you are here, which means something in you is already awake enough to hear this. This isn't hype. This isn't performance. This is the moment where the ordinary world flickers and you see the hidden current beneath it. Pause. Right here. Because from this point on, nothing you thought was fixed will look the same. Life often feels like a stage, doesn't it? You wake up, you dress. You go through the hours playing your role so well that you almost forget you didn't write this script. And yet, in the quiet moments, when the world finally stills, a question slips through. Is this really reality? Or is this just the shadow of something deeper? That whisper you feel in your chest is not an illusion. It is the trace of something ancient, something that's been waiting for you to remember. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're not like most. You've already felt the glitch, the sense that the ordinary is hiding something extraordinary. The Buddha once said, "The path doesn't give you more. It simply clears away what hides your vision." That is why you are here. Not to add layers, not to collect teachings like trophies, but to shed the illusions that kept you blind to what's all. In daily life, we confuse the temporary for the permanent. We chase praise as if it will last forever. We run from pain as if it will never end. And in that rush, we mistake the world's noise for the voice of our own heart. But listen closely. Beneath all that noise, there is a steady current, a silence that is alive, a wisdom that doesn't shout, it whispers. And today, we begin walking toward it. One step at a time, because ahead of you are 6 doors, 6 truths, not written in textbooks, not shouted in headlines, but hidden in your own experience, waiting for you to notice them. The question is not whether the doors exist. Truth number 1. You are the dreamer of your dream. Pause and feel that for a moment. What if everything you see outside, the people, the events, the struggles, the victories, is nothing more than the reflection of your own mind? Think of a dream you once had, so vivid, so real, that you awoke with your heart racing. In that dream, every character felt alive. Every detail felt solid. Every moment felt unquestionable. And yet, all of it, every scene, every word, every feeling, was created inside of you. Now let the shock land. What if this waking life is not so different? The joys you hold, the conflicts you face, the fears that haunt you, the moments of tenderness that save you, all of it mirrors the patterns of your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. The outer world bends itself around the inner climate. When the mind is clouded, the world feels heavy, hostile, suffocating. But when the mind is clear, suddenly, life seems softer, brighter, more welcoming. Nothing outside changed, only the dreamer shifted. This truth is both liberating and unsettling, because it means responsibility rests here. Inside, healing does not begin by rearranging the world around you. It begins by tending to the soil of your mind. Compassion grows sunlight, fear builds walls, love dissolves them, And the whisper behind reality is asking you now, which dream will you keep feeding? Consider this. When you are at peace, small problems shrink. Gratitude flows through even the simplest moments. A glass of water, a laugh with a friend, the warmth of morning light. But when you are restless, the difference was never the world. It was always the dreamer behind the dream. This is not a call to deny suffering. Pain is real. Loss is real. But even suffering carries a message when you hold it with awareness. It becomes a teacher. It asks, what is my mind showing me through this? And in that moment, you stop blaming shadows. Every thought becomes a brushstroke. Every intention, a color. And the masterpiece is your life. So remember this. If you want to change the dream, awaken the dreamer. Truth number 2. The purpose of life is joy. Most of us were trained to believe that life is something to endure. A chain of duties, a list of hardships, work, bills, survival, with only small fragments of happiness sprinkled here and there, almost as if joy were a luxury for the lucky few. But listen carefully, that belief is the great lie. Because the purpose of life is not suffering with rare moments of relief. The purpose is joy itself. Joy is not an accident. Joy is not a distraction. Joy is the signpost that tells you you are aligned. When you feel joy, even in the smallest, simplest moments, you are walking with truth. Think of it. The laughter of a child, the golden warmth of sunlight spilling across your skin, the breath that steadies after a long day. None of these are possessions. None of them can be bought or forced. They are gifts, evidence that the path itself is alive beneath your feet. And here is the shocking part. Joy does not wait for you at the end of the path. Joy is the path. We are taught to delay it. I'll be happy when I get the job. When I find the relationship, when the world finally approves of me. But this is the trap. Because joy is not conditional, it does not wait for perfection. It arises in the middle of imperfection. If you let it, the Buddha never said suffering defines existence. He said suffering can be transformed. And at the root of that transformation is the discovery of joy, already inside you, waiting to be uncovered. So release the idea that joy is selfish. A joyful person is not selfish. They are a beacon. Their presence alone lightens the air. Their smile, their calmness, their laughter becomes medicine for those around. When you understand this truth, life begins to feel different. The endless weight of striving starts to dissolve. You don't postpone happiness into some unreachable future. You live it now, and in living it now, you magnetize more of it. So let this truth settle into you. Joy is not the reward at the end of the journey. Joy is the journey, and every smile, every breath of gratitude, every moment of peace is proof that you are already where you need to be. Truth number 3. Every experience is an opportunity to grow. This is the truth most people resist. Because when hardship arrives, when pain strikes, to call it unfair, but what if the very thing you're trying to escape is the exact doorway meant to transform you? Suffering is not a detour from the path. It is the path. Think of the cracks in your life, the heartbreak that shattered you, the failure that humbled you, the illness that slowed you down. At the time, it felt unbearable. But when you look back, Those cracks became the openings where light entered. Those wounds became teachers that no book, no mentor, no philosophy could have given you. The Buddha taught that suffering is the greatest teacher because it breaks open the illusions of permanence. It dissolves the ego's grip. It forces us to see what truly matters. This truth does not glorify suffering. It transforms how you meet it. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" And when you do that, pain shifts from enemy to guide. Hardship stops feeling like every moment, whether joy or loss, success or failure, becomes a mirror. Joy shows you gratitude. Conflict shows you your attachment to control. Loss shows you the hidden strength to let go. Every event carries a lesson. Every struggle carries a seed, and if you're willing to water that seed with awareness, it blooms into wisdom. So remember this: nothing in your story is wasted. Not the mistakes, not the heartbreaks, not even the moments you thought would break you forever. Each crack is not an ending. It's a beginning. Each scar is not disfigurement. It's proof that your spirit knows how to expand. And when you embrace this truth, life itself becomes a sacred classroom. Every day, a lesson. Every challenge, a hidden teacher. Every experience, an opportunity to grow beyond yesterday's limits. So let the wounds teach you. Let the struggles sculpt you. Let life carve you into someone who is not broken, but awakened. Truth number 4. Love is the only reality. At the core of every spiritual path, beneath every teaching, every scripture, every meditation, there is this: love. Not the love of possession, not the love of desire, not the love that clings or fears to lose, but the love that simply is. When you look closely, nothing exists alone. Every tree depends on the soil. Every raindrop joins the river. Every breath you take is borrowed from the invisible generosity of the air. The boundaries between you and the world are thinner than you think. And beneath those boundaries, the current that holds everything together is love. This truth collapses the illusion of separation. Because when you see clearly, you realize harming another is harming yourself. To show compassion is not an act of charity. It is the recognition of who you truly are. Think of the moments when you felt most alive. They weren't times of conquest or victory. They were times of connection. Holding the hand of someone you cherish, sitting in silence with a friend who understands you without words, walking in nature and feeling the pulse of the earth as if it were your own heartbeat. These moments reveal something essential. Love is not decoration. Love is the foundation. Love is the fabric. Love is the reality itself. Without love, wisdom hardens. Knowledge becomes brittle. But true, because to see deeply is to recognize that every being longs for the same thing: to be free of suffering, to touch happiness, to be whole. And when that recognition lands in you, walls collapse. The distance between me and you disappears. What remains is tenderness. What remains is oneness. So let this truth settle inside you, beneath all the noise, beneath the division, beneath the endless struggle. There is only one ocean, and every drop, every wave, every ripple is made of the same water. Love is not optional. It is not something to practice when convenient. It is reality itself. To live in harmony with it is to finally live in truth. Truth number 5. There is nothing to attain. This one shakes the ground beneath you. Because the mind is addicted to becoming, we chase, we strive. We measure our worth in titles, in possessions, in milestones, even in spiritual progress, always believing that the next achievement will complete us. But here is the radical truth. You are already whole, already luminous, already enough. The nature of your being is like the open sky. Vast, clear, untouched. Clouds may pass across it. Storms may roar through it. But the sky itself is never damaged, never diminished, never less infinite. The work of awakening is not about collecting new qualities or forcing yourself to improve. It is about remembering, wiping away the dust that hides your brilliance. Think of a mirror covered in dirt. You do not need to create its power to reflect. You simply wipe away what obscures it, and the clarity was there all along. This is what the spiritual path really is. Not a climb, not a race. Not a ladder where only the strong reach the top. It is a homecoming, a return, a remembering of what has always been true. When you let this truth land, you no longer wake up with the crushing belief that you are behind, that you must earn your right to exist, that you must reach some future prize before you can rest. Instead, you breathe, you ground. You realize that this very moment is complete. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be added. And here is the liberation. It is the reflection already inside you, waiting to be seen again. So release the heavy burden of striving. You are not a climber clawing at the sky. You are the sky itself, vast, luminous, infinite. The truth has never been about becoming more. The truth has always been about remembering who you already are. Truth number 6. Everything is already good. At first, the mind resists this. How can everything be good when there is pain, when there is loss, when the world looks fractured and incomplete? But step back and look again. Every storm, every silence, every joy, every sorrow belongs to the great. From the narrow view, a single brushstroke looks chaotic. From the wider view, it belongs to a masterpiece. We divide life into good and bad, success and failure, right and wrong, but these labels rise and fall like waves. The ocean itself, the deeper truth, remains vast, steady, untouched. Even suffering carries within it a hidden order. Even endings carry within them the seed of new beginnings. The lotus grows not in polished marble, but in mud. And the mud is not the enemy, it is the nourishment. So too, the cracks, the struggles, the mistakes, they are not interruptions to your path. They are the soil of your awakening. Without them, the flower of your becoming could never bloom. This truth is not a call to ignore pain or pretend everything is perfect. It is an invitation to trust that even what feels unbearable now is part of a deeper harmony, one your mind may not yet see, but your soul already knows. When you let this truth settle, something softens inside you, the grip loosens, the chest unclenches. You realize you do not have to force everything into shape, because beneath it all, nothing is every grain of dust, every breath, every tear, every star, all of it already good, already complete. This is the final door, the whisper behind reality, the truth so simple that it feels like coming home. Step back for a moment, breathe. Now look at the six truths not as fragments, but as a whole. Each one opened like six rays of light, merging into a single flame. Like six petals of a lotus, unfolding to reveal its hidden heart. The first truth reminded you that life is a dream, and you are the dreamer. The second revealed that joy is not at the end of the path, but the path itself. The third showed you that every experience, even suffering, is a teacher in disguise. The fourth dissolved separation, showing that love is not optional. It is the fabric of reality itself. The fifth released you from the endless chase, whispering that there is nothing to attain because you are already whole. And the sixth lifted the final veil, showing that everything, even now, is already good. Hold them together in your heart, and a picture begins to form. A symphony of awakening. A clarity that does not belong to books or teachers, but to you. Because these truths are not theories. They are not distant ideas. They are living realities, present in every breath, every step, every choice. The path is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you already are. The wisdom does not come from outside. It awakens from within. The light does not wait for later. It is shining here, right now. Let these truths, seeds that do not rush, but grow quietly, steadily, naturally, until one day you realize the fog has lifted and the home you've been searching for was always inside you. If you have stayed with me until this very moment, it is not an accident. Something in you was ready to hear these truths. Something in you was ready to awaken. The six doors are not just words. They are mirrors. And the fact that you felt them, even for a second, means the map is already inside you. From this day forward, you do not walk as someone who is lost, even when fear whispers, even when the old script tries to pull you back. Remember, you have seen behind the curtain. You cannot unsee it. You are the dreamer of your dream. You are the joy flowing through each breath. You are the student of every experience. You are the expression of love itself. You are already whole. And yes, so let these truths live in you. Not perfectly, not all at once, but gently, moment by moment. Each time you return to your breath, your heart, your presence, you walk further into freedom, and know this: you are not walking alone. Everyone who has watched this far is part of the same circle: seekers, dreamers, awakeners. So in the spirit of that connection, I invite you. Comment the number 1 if even one of these truths touched you today. Let your voice echo into this circle so that others feel safe to share theirs too. And if this video placed even a spark of light in your day, share it with someone who may be searching in the dark. Pass the flame forward. Finally, if you want to keep walking this path, if you want to keep opening doors together, subscribe and stay close. This is not a solitary journey. We rise together. We awaken together. Remember, the whisper behind reality is always there. You only need to be still enough to hear it.